Hello class, my name is Scott Naden and I am here to inform my audience on beekeeping. It's a really interesting subject for me. I hope that you'll find it to be interesting as well. Instead of me talking about it all the time, I will let you know that I have pictures. I'm sorry that I was unable to provide you with the real thing, but I'd be dressed up in all my protective gear showing you how it's done. Okay, but here we go. What we got? Beekeeping. We got in this picture here, I'm showing you a typical colony, and what the colony here is on is a frame. The frame is inside of a big box. Okay, I'll tell you that the boxes like this are supers, and inside the boxes are frames. A little information about the supers. The typical hive consists of brood boxes, and it has some honey boxes. What we're interested in is this honey. And I can tell you that there are a lot of benefits in the beekeeping. Some of them are that you get honey. Honey is number one, I'm sure everybody would agree. Some of the other things you get from it would be royal jelly, propolis. What is propolis? Propolis is an antibacterial element that you could apply on your scratches and kills germs. Your grandmother knows about it, trust me. You got beeswax, you can make candles out of it, and bee pollen. I'd like to go right on to the next image. Here's some honey, and I'd like to get back to this real quick, but I'm going to talk to you briefly about the bee pollen. Bee pollen is really good for people that's got allergies. People with allergies probably already have an idea what I'm talking about. But this is a typical honeybee, and attached on this honeybee's leg is a piece of bee pollen. You can harvest this from the bees, put in a little container, and find it in a health food store. And bee pollen, very good for you. Okay, but the honey, everybody cares more about the honey. I'll tell you that this is an image of a frame with this pick here is basically scratching off the wax cappings off of the cells, which exposes the honey. And there's several different ways of extracting that honey from this frame, but the most common one that you may be familiar with would be a centrifuge. Stick the frame in a centrifuge, spin it around rather aggressively, and the honey actually whips out of there. Okay. Other ways of harvesting the honey, basically just rake it off the frame and filter out some of the wax cappings there, and honey. Everybody likes the honey. The real quick information about the hive itself, the colony. The colony is referred to a colony because there's a queen in it. Okay, without the queen, a hive would basically have nothing but a bunch of flying, stinging insects. Okay, a lot of disorder. With the colony, with the queen in the colony, there's order. It's quite amazing what the queen is capable of doing. I'll tell you that the queen here in this picture is marked with a blue dot on it. That's typical. If you want to buy a queen, typically about $20 you want to buy a queen. You'll want to be able to identify that queen from all the other bees, and what better way to do it than to put some paint on its back. Okay, but you can see maybe in this picture all these other bees, the worker bees, all female if I may add, are huddling around the queen. She drops an egg in the cell, and the rest of those worker bees go to work. Okay, the interesting fact about dropping eggs, that queen can lay like 1,500 eggs in one day's time. Right? The queen herself, she could live like 5 years. Although she's not as productive when she gets older, her first 2 years is when she's knocking out some eggs, and After that, you're better off replacing the queen with a new one. Okay, I'm going to move on to what a frame would look like after the queen had laid her eggs, after the worker bees had their opportunity to cap all the cells, and inside each one of those cells is a little bee larvae. Okay, about 22 days, the little bee will emerge from there and put herself in the workforce. It's beekeeper uses techniques to keep the brood out of the honey, and they use some equipment to do that. I'll jump into that real quick. Picture of the basics. These are just the basics. You can get a lot more elaborate, but you get 2 brood chambers at the bottom, the bigger, deeper cells, and then a honey box. And from there, you can stack this thing 5, 6, 7 deep. That'd be a lot of honey. Okay, but there's a queen excluder, which you slide between the brood box and the honey super. That keeps the queen from going up to the top. She don't go up to the top, she's not laying eggs. She'll lay eggs up there, that's where they're going to put the honey. Pretty simplistic. Everybody's interested about this smoker. Nothing real special about it. The smoker tends to, well, what can I say? The smoker will hypnotize the bees in thinking that there's a fire outside, and if there's a fire outside, what better thing to do than to stick your head in the honey and put your tails up in the air. It's crazy. They'll do that, and they'll stop stinging you. That's the case. One of the most important pieces of equipment would be your suit. In the suit, and gloves. I want to point out a good pair of gloves. My particular outfit, I look more Amish with the flat hat on, but it achieves the same setup. Real quick, I want to leave you with one disturbing picture. I thought about this at one time. Wasn't brave enough. I look like this. And this is basically a bee beard. And you could do that if you're brave enough by putting on some bee pheromone, the queen pheromone. And all these other bees will think that you're a queen, and they'll want to get real close to you. All right. Well, I hope you found this entertaining, and I hope I didn't look quite as nervous as my intro speech. And I enjoyed it. I'm going to start working on my third one. Thanks a lot. Bye.